You ever tried a VR headset?
No, I haven't. I'm very intrigued by it, but I'm also a bit skeptical because um, I don't know. I think it also kind of messes with your mind a bit, like not in a weird way. Just I have a problem with watching 3D movies because it gives me a migraine.
Yeah.
So I think the technology behind it has to be a bit more refined before it will be a completely enjoyable experience for everybody. I
Yeah.
mean, I'm sure because I know gamers that can game solid for a whole weekend and not have any kind of eye strain or anything. Me, I have to wear glasses when I work on the computer a lot
Yeah.
because my eyes get strained very quickly. So um, that aspect to me needs to be a lot more refined. Look, I should probably not say that because I haven't actually worn a VR set yet. But from what I've read and what I've heard, it isn't always a pleasant experience. People complain of nausea and they complain of dizziness and stuff. So,
Mm.
for me, there's still a lot that can be done in that field before it becomes a completely pleasurable experience for everybody. But I mean, I'm sure there's a lot of people that already enjoy it even at this stage.
Well, I haven't tried like the proper one, like the Oculus or anything like that yet. I'm hoping it's going to be at some events we go to, so I can try it. But there's always a line, and there's always somebody hogging it. So, but I've tried this. Naz brought this thing. It's made out of cardboard, and
Okay.
it's like $11, and you put your phone in there, and you strap it on, and then you look like a dickhead. It's like looking around. It's quite cool just to get this sort of like like a real basic idea of what c-
And does
what
it
it's
work
going
with
to
an
be.
app? What is it that you what
Yeah,
is it that you look
you download the apps onto your phone, and then it just uses the phone screen to view everything. It's quite
Okay.
cool. Like I was a bit like, oh, rubbish, but um, it is kind of fun. And then I can imagine with like the proper stuff, it would be pretty amazing. But as you mentioned before, the thing with your eyes, like for me, it did give me a headache. But I assume that's because this is like a cheap $11 trick. But yeah, I just think the potential for virtual reality games is going to be amazing. Like with the level of graphics that developers are using, and especially the AAA industry, like there's going to be some really cool stuff, and I can't wait for it. But I do think it is going to mess with people's eyes, and more people are probably going to need. I don't know. I'm not a doctor, but it's just my wild accusations that it's going to screw up people's heads and eyes. um,
Yes.
but
I
yeah.
know they are experimenting with I also posted it a little while ago where instead of just having the one screen that your eyes look at, which I think is where the biggest problem comes in because you're trying to focus on things that are technically far and near,
Yeah.
but their actual physical length away from you is the same. So your eyes are looking far at something that's near. So that's where the whole issue comes in. And some manufacturers are working on having two different screens, one a little bit behind the other one, just so that when your eye actually does shift something in the distance, it does actually move, even if it's only 2 or 3 millimeters, it makes a difference.
Yeah. Yeah. It's amazing what's going to happen. But do you have any like what kind of games do you think would be awesome as in virtual reality?
Look, I think for something like that, having an open world where you're not restricted in any way by a linear path is going to be massive because I think it's going to take the feeling of exploration to a whole new level.
Mm.
I'm not too sure how it works with physical boundaries, so I mean, technically, if you want to go somewhere, you walk there. So I don't know if you're using a VR headset, are you going to have to be in a really large room so you don't walk into things? Or, in my mind, it's like, you're going to be, someone's going to start shooting at you and you're going to do a drop and roll and you're going to hit your couch or something. So,
Well, I think
um,
yeah, like you do get like controls, like some stuff, and I'm sure they're gonna make like an assortment of like hand things and all sorts of input devices. But yeah, like the urge to do what you're doing in the virtual reality will be so strong that I can imagine mini TVs or like walls are going to get broken because, like, you want to look around at everything, but
Exactly.
it's like right there, but you're looking over there. It's quite funny, but
I can imagine a giant, like, those hamster balls that are like sort of suspended.
Yeah.
So you can walk, but you're not going to go anywhere.
Super.
That to me is like the perfect VR setup. So, you have your headset, you've got your gloves and whatever, and you're in this little ball. So as fast as you want to run, you can run, but you're not going to go anywhere. You're not going to bump into like the couch or the wall or anything and get like concussion, because that could be quite bad.
Like what's because it with being you're going to be in the game, that whole sort of the story aspect of dropping the character into the box or the prison or the cave or whatever. Now you are actually going to be in the cave. Like the experiences that are going to be available are going to be super cool. But yeah, I had a really good question. I just lost it.
Actually, you asked it to me earlier and I didn't answer it. You said what would be a good game concept for VR?
Yeah.
Or what would you? Sorry, and I got totally sidetracked. Yes.
Right.
I've given it a bit of thought, and to me, yeah, and I'm saying I gave it a lot of thought, and then I actually ended up. That's kind of what for me the Seven Glitches about, because I started thinking about it, and I thought, how cool would it be to be completely immersed in a game like that, where your entire body is like transposed into the game. It's not just you sitting and interacting with an apparatus or something. You are playing the game in every aspect of the word. So in that way, you can do just about anything, because it would be like an alternate reality. It's not going to be as, you're not going to have to worry about people trying to get into the world, or, losing that, what do they call it? Suspending belief, because that's the number one thing that's game developers, writers, they all have to do that. They have to get the player or the reader to suspend belief for as long as they're playing the game, so that they can completely believe in this world that they're interacting with. And I think the minute you do anything good enough with, that the graphics are good enough in VR, it's going to be instant. You're not going to have to have such a, it's, you are there. You can't argue with it. Your brain can't tell you this isn't real, because everywhere you look, it's real.
Yeah.
When you're playing on a computer or you're playing on a PlayStation, you just have to look away and it's not real anymore,
Yeah.
With VR, that's not the case. So I think it can be quite dangerous, because, you already hear stories about people that sort of go a bit crazy because they're playing games and stuff. Look, I believe those people are going to go crazy anyway, but that's just me. But I think you might have a bit of a bigger issue with people really struggling to disconnect from the game, because it's going to be it'll take you over, I'm sure.
Have you ever seen
You're
the show Caprica?
Mm-mm.
Oh, there's this good. I won't say it's good because it's not that good. It should have been good. It should have been awesome, but it's a spin-off of the series Battlestar Galactica, and it's sort of like the prequel to that series. And that has a lot of, it's based around the idea of the virtual reality. It's what started off, the progression into downloading people's consciousness, and then from there putting them into, skeletons and making, robots that have AI and that kind of, an actual conscious of somebody who lived. But, the virtual reality in that is that, they, it's just like another world. Like it's that you can do whatever you want in it, and you can die, you can feel, everything feels real, but then it's not. You can take it off and you're back to your normal boring life. But that sort of explored that dissociation that people might get, and I think if the VR and stuff, eventually it'll be awesome to the point that people will probably want to just live in a virtual world rather than reality kind of stuff. Like, it's probably a long way off, and it sounds a little bit conspiracy or something, but...
No. I think it's also, we were talking about it earlier, the thing is, the worse the world out there gets, so, the more crime you see, the more violence, the more wars, the more people are going to not really want to live out there. They're going to want to live in their heads. And reading books and playing games and watching movies and stuff, you already see that quite badly, where people are turning more to entertainment to, not really experience what's going out there. And they sort of desensitizing themselves in a way. So, it's shocking, because you'll have people that witness like the worst crimes and stuff, and then they go home and they just turn on the TV, and by the next day they've forgotten about it. And that's happened to me as well quite a few times. So I mean, we had, when I don't work for a boss anymore, yay, I'm my own boss, but I used to, and then at my office 2 or 3 meters down the road there was a shootout the one day while we were sitting working. Yeah, there was a shootout in our road. There was a hijacking or something. It happened so fast we weren't actually sure. But about 7 or 8 gunshots were fired, and for about 10 minutes everybody's like, oh my word, what's going on? And then half an hour later everyone was back to work. It was just, that's it. And then you go home and you tell your significant other, oh, I had the most shocking thing happen today, and by the next day you've forgotten about it. So it's anyway, I got sidetracked there.
No, I guess, the crapper real life is, the more appealing that, being a night elf in whatever area is just way more cool. And getting like epic gears and getting all the stuff that means nothing but feels like everything, as opposed to real life where you've got to like go to your job or, study and, live.
Exactly.
Yeah. I guess another thing with I was reading an article that was basically saying that games are going the way of interactive movies. And, I don't know, what do you think of that? Do you think that's true or no?
Interactive movies?
Yeah.
Just give me a head.
There's some Final Fantasy that I've played that are just like watching a movie where you click a few things. You don't really get much of an investment in it because it's already like everything's already done for you, that you don't really feel like you're giving much, skill, or you're not really being challenged with it kind of thing. It's almost like the game plays you, not you play the game.
Yes.
Kind of thing. I'm not sure.
I think there is a how can I put it, a niche for that. There are going to be people that want to play that kind of game, but personally I prefer the one where you have choice, because it's almost like you get to the end of the game and then you start from the beginning again, consciously trying to make different decisions to see how it would affect the outcome of the game. Because I know Witcher 3 for one is, I haven't played it myself, but Sean's played it, and he says you can tell when he's making sort of a big decision. He knows it's going to now affect the course of the game. And that is exciting, because, and what I find very inventive what they did is they actually give you a countdown timer when you have to make some of these important decisions. So you've only got like 20 seconds or 15 seconds to make a decision. And, I suppose you sometimes want your character to be good or bad, subconsciously when you start playing, but then you like you caught, and I don't know, I suppose if you go back again, would you make the same decisions? Are you going to be able to make different decisions? So for me that's very exciting, because it's there's not a chance that you're going to have the same experience as someone else that's played the game. So to me that adds just another whole level, especially if the game developers can do at least 2 or 3 or 4 alternate endings, or even alternate game paths completely, not just endings.
Yeah.
That to me adds so much depth to a game. It's
Yeah, super. I love when games do that. When you know that you're possibly gonna you're like, oh crap, am I making the wrong choice? And you've gone back, or you've made a save point so that if you have screwed it up, you can go back and then redo it so that you can get the outcome you want. Again, with Dragon Age, I've done that so much. I think it was Dragon Age Origins. I was like, I need to be queen at the end of this. I have to be queen. I've got to make myself queen. So it's like leveling up all the relationships and getting everything into place.
I had every last one of them.
And then And then I think I screwed it up at the last minute and I ended up being like a mistress or something. I was like, nah, that's not going to work. And so I had to go back and play it again just to be queen. But it's
But
fun.
yeah.
Yeah. And there was lots of other heaps of like different endings you could have for different characters as well. Like it would, so it wasn't just your own character story that, would have the different endings. All the other side characters would have different outcomes as well. So you could kind of watch those and really good thing for a game to do.
That always games like that always remind me of those books back in the day, Choose Your Own Adventure.
Oh yeah.
You remember those? I loved those books. It was like, you like almost want to cheat by like just reading all the pages out of order and trying to find where the ending is, but they're so clever because they don't put it at the back and they don't put it in the middle. They sort of hide it. And that was like, you reached like an end point where you made the wrong decision and it just doesn't work out and you're like, no! And they're like, go back to page 42 and you're like, yes, go back to page 42. Okay, now I know which choice. That was, it was amazing because it's not just one story, it's, several threads. And yeah, that to me is the best kind of storytelling.